Welcome to the MYC Uncensored podcast. I'm Aqsa, and this is my very first podcast on everything emotional intelligence. It's a term we've all heard at some point throughout life. Some of us have a grasp of what emotional intelligence is and how to develop it, or more so, it was already ingrained in us by the way our caregivers raised us. On the other hand, some of us might have little to no understanding of what it means. The concept has become increasingly important these days within the personal development, self-growth, healing, and psychology realm. It is considered an important tool in becoming the it girl, succeeding at work, or even manifesting our desires. But what exactly is emotional intelligence? Why is it important? How exactly do we incorporate it not only into our daily lives, but also into our personality or identity? Let's break it down and start with the basics. What is emotional intelligence? A journal published mentions that it is the ability to identify, understand, and utilize emotions in a way that allows good communication, establishment of empathy, problem solving, and conflict management. It was first labeled as social intelligence by Thorndike in 1920, and then again by the late psychologist Howard Gardner, who argued that intelligence came in 8 forms, emotional intelligence being one of them. Throughout history, we've had many studies, findings, and different models, such as a trait emotional intelligence model formed in 2001, or the pyramid of emotional intelligence, the 9-layer model. But there is a common thing among all these findings. Emotional intelligence involves self-awareness, perception, regulation, and action that promotes inner and outer harmony and allows prosperity in all aspects of life. It's crucial for reducing stress, living a fulfilled life, being a great leader, building and maintaining strong relationships, and being a better human. It is not an easy skill to master, and many things impact this, such as the traumas you have faced throughout childhood, parenting styles, life experiences, and the people you surround yourself with. Emotional intelligence is a spectrum. Some people are on the higher end, some on the lower end, and some just right in the middle. Where we stand on the spectrum can change throughout life or based on the situations we face. Anyone can be angry, that is easy, but to be angry with the right person to the right degree at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not easy. I stumbled upon this quote by Aristotle that explains the concept of emotional intelligence very well. So I thought, let us break it down with a simple example. You went to work today, and the cafe from where you usually have your favorite chocolate muffin is out of stock today. How do you react? An emotionally unintelligent person would react as such. They would let their anger and disappointment take over and most likely get very angry, respond in a loud or passive-aggressive tone, and yell at the cashier before storming out, despite being apologized to and being offered alternatives. Then they will probably let their anger impact the way they treat their coworkers as they reach their office. This means they might be unfriendly, snap at a coworker, or just be passive aggressive when it comes to teamwork. Now, for an emotionally intelligent person, we'll talk about how it's different. The person might feel angry, frustrated, and upset, but the first thing is that the person knows they are feeling these emotions and are able to check in with themselves before responding or taking action. Thus, whilst acknowledging that it is okay to feel sad or frustrated, there is also an appropriate way to respond. So they would first agree that their anger is directed at the baker or management, who are responsible for the muffin production, and that the cashier is at no fault. So anger towards the cashier is unjustified. Now comes the degree of anger. Ask yourself, is this really worth raging? Is this something that would truly ruin my whole day? Chances are that it will not, or that there are ways to brighten up the day. Because negative experiences are a part of life. It's how we perceive and respond to them that can really take a toll on our lives, for better or for worse. Now let's move on to time. You're running a bit late for work and there's a whole queue behind you, waiting to order. Is this really the right time and place to let my emotions take control? Probably not. Whether it's about you, the line of the customers, or even your workmates, emotionally intelligent people always take the feelings of others into account, because whilst they recognize that their own feelings are important, they place the same importance to the emotions of others. Finally, let's talk about the purpose and the way the person expresses their anger. What is a purpose? Is it to shame the cashier and frighten them, or is it to just express how you feel so that they are aware of a customer needs in the future? Also, how is it expressed? By cursing or in a condescending manner? All these aspects we've broken down play a part in the process of expressing emotional intelligence. And if you haven't noticed, we've covered self-awareness, perception, regulation, and action. To go into a little more depth about the scenario, the emotionally intelligent person would probably go for a walk to lighten their mood or compromise by going for a muffin from a different cafe because they know that these negative emotions and experiences shouldn't have such control over their daily lives, and it's their responsibility to ensure that they're able to bounce back. In this way, we reduce our own stress. We learn to be flexible and adaptable, and we build rapport with others based on mutual respect and kindness. What are some ways to develop emotional intelligence? That example was probably a lot to take in, and you're probably wondering, how can I do all this in a span of a minute? I get it. It's hard to not immediately respond, but there are many ways in which we can cultivate practices to help with emotional intelligence, and it eventually becomes a default habit. Okay, the first one, journaling. The power of journaling has been widely discovered for its benefits in calming anxiety, boosting creativity, enabling reflection, and seeing patterns in moods or thoughts. It's a powerful tool to express all feelings and thoughts that we might not be able to say out loud. When we do this, we see patterns in emotions or thoughts that appear, kind of like an aha moment. Through self-awareness and the ability to reflect, we are able to take action. Why do I feel this way? Is there a habit I need to change in my daily life to omit this limiting belief? Is there something that's bothering me, or is this emotion the root cause? Consequently, the validation and ability to take action leads to improvement, not only in mental health, but the way we respond to daily struggles rather than suppressing these emotions and letting it ruin our day. Number 2, practice active listening. According to Psychology Today, only 10% of people actively listen. And I'll be honest, I'm sort of guilty of that as well. It can be hard when there are a million thoughts going through your mind or if there's distracting background noise. But active listening is crucial to show that we care and be able to respond in an empathetic way. Simple ways to practice this is to try and focus on what the speaker is saying, even if it's for a couple of minutes, and use appropriate body language such as nodding, smiling, or even paraphrasing to really understand and interpret what the person is saying. There's nothing worse than making a hurtful joke because you misinterpreted the speaker's mood due to poor listening and attention skills. In this way, you're building a connection with the individual, and people are more likely to trust you, open up to you, and promote social harmony. Number 3, pay attention to your support network. I truly believe you are who you hang out with. If you're surrounded with people who lack emotional intelligence and the desire to improve on it, then chances are that you will most likely do the same. This can also be true for family members or coworkers, and it's important to surround yourself with people who mirror the qualities you want to develop, and it pushes you to do better. I think this is especially important for children, teens, young adults, where we're at an age where things our things can be really impressionable. People have a great impression on us, and we're really likely to fall into peer pressure. Number 4, therapy. This can be quite beneficial in targeting learned behaviors from childhood or traumatic experiences where we might develop poor or unhealthy emotional intelligence. It can show up as an inability to recognize one's own feelings or even poor coping mechanisms, such as avoiding sitting with your feelings to explore them and how they are limiting your personal life. Through different types of therapy, the root issues are able to be identified, explored, and healthier mindsets, coping mechanisms, and choices can be made, which can lead to a better level of emotional intelligence. Well, that was basically it. Just a general, podcast about what emotional intelligence is, how to develop it, what are the sort of factors that, impact emotional intelligence. Obviously, this is a very long and insightful topic, but this is just a basic podcast about, the basics of emotional intelligence. I hope you have learned something new. And that's it from me today. Thank you.